Hey guys, how's it going? As usual, I've done a little bit more shopping. This time I bought myself some timber lengths for the wall, or both walls actually. I decided to go with like a tongue and groove style because last time I had some plywood and things like that. I used a lot of plywood in the build. This time I'm trying to use as much as natural a material as possible. So instead of going with something like plywood that's all been glued together and that, I just got raw timber, tongue and groove lengths, and I'm going to see if I can basically do the walls and hopefully the ceiling with that. So this is what I got anyway, just down here. So I've got a combination. I've got on the right hand side, those are actually 4.8 meter lengths, and then on the left hand side 3.9 meter lengths. Now the longest wall, this side wall here, I think is about 4.5 meters, so the 4.8 meters should be plenty for that, and then the other ones can be used for the other side, anything else that I need to do. Yeah, so that's what I got, and I'm probably just gonna at this stage I'm thinking I'm just going to oil the timber afterwards, but I don't have a lot of time this afternoon. I've only really got a couple of hours. It's probably going to be dark soonish, so I'm going to just try and make a start. Literally just, even if I get a couple of panels cut, I'll be happy, you know, just to make a start, just so that when it comes to the weekend I already know what I'm doing and I can just start putting up panels and hopefully get the walls done this weekend, because that'd be really good. Once the walls are done, I can start building furniture and installing appliances and things like that. Basically until the walls are done, I can't really do anything. Now the ceiling, I haven't bought any timber for the ceiling yet. I'm going to see how I go with the walls. If it goes well, I might get the same stuff, but either way, I've got to install the fans, the roof vents first, before I do that, just so I know where they're going to be, and then I can build around them basically. So yeah, we're going to see how far we go this afternoon. This video will either be a short one and I'll make more videos for the rest of it, or I'll combine them all together and make it one long video over a few days. Yeah, we'll see how we go. Alright, so quick update on the wall panel situation. I'm now 7 panels high. It's the second afternoon that I've been doing it because basically I don't really get a whole lot of time after work to do much. So once I'm set up and all that sort of stuff, I get like maybe an hour in or something, and then I have to pack it away. But it's still going pretty good. Like I said, I'm 7 panels high. I've managed to cut around a lot of the stuff. I'll just turn the camera around and show you. So just get down here. So this is what it's looking like so far. As I said, 7 panels high. We've now reached the the top of this layer of foil insulation, and it's ready for me to start filling in these spots with the poly insulation. Yeah, basically I've had to cut around a couple of things. This bit here was bulging out, and if I'd have just put the timber straight over it, it would have made it kind of stick out and wouldn't have sat flush against the wall. There's also the wheel arch, had to cut around that obviously. And then there's just this over here, which I don't really know what to call it. It's kind of like a latch, I guess. It just stops the door from opening all the way. But I'll show you how it works. Basically, as you open the door, it comes out and it latches on. And when you close the door, it goes back in there. So I had to just cut that little hole out there for it. So these are the screws that I'm using. Basically they're just 30mm metal screws with like a Phillips head top and like a self-drilling tip on them. See if I can show you one. I don't know if that's going to focus. That's what they look like. Basically I just stick them on the drill. I've got a Phillips head bit on there, and I've found that if I do it right, I don't need a pilot hole or anything. I just sort of go gently through the timber. Once it gets through the timber, you just speed it up so you really drive it in, and once it goes through the metal, you slow down so that the head doesn't expand and crack the timber. You just do that nice and slow and no issues.
Okay, so it's Saturday morning now, technically the third day that I've been working on the wall panels, although I've only actually spent a couple of afternoons, a couple of hours here and there, and I've spent about maybe 2 hours on it this morning, and I've finished the biggest wall here, as you can see behind me. I've finished all the way up to the ceiling. So now I'm going to start on this one. This is the half wall with the sliding door in front. Now, at this stage, I don't think I'm going to put the paneling on the sliding door, just to keep it thin, because as the door opens, there's only a small gap between the door and the body of the vehicle. And currently there's an MDF panel on the door, so I was just going to put a couple of smaller MDF panels up high to fill in the holes on the top of the door, and that way it keeps it really thin, and then I might paint over it. That's the plan at the moment anyway. So I'm going to do basically what I've done on this wall now, and hopefully I should be able to get that done today. And then I've got 3 days off this weekend. I managed to get Monday off as well, so I've got plenty of time to spend on the van, which is awesome, because I've just really had a couple of hours here and there in the afternoons. I think I've only done one full day of work on it. That was when I did the insulation on a Sunday. So this will be like the first time I've had a decent amount of time to spend working on the van, and I'm hoping to get the walls done, and maybe, I'm not sure, but I'm thinking I might try and install the vents. We'll see. Anyway, so that's where I'm up to. I'll just show you the wall actually. I'll just turn the camera around, hold on. Turn the screen around. So it ended up being 14 layers from floor to ceiling, and with this silver backed insulation, the foil backed stuff, it actually works out perfectly for 2 sheets to reach all the way to the top. So I've got 1 sheet on the top and 1 sheet on the bottom, and it works out really well. So that's pretty cool. That's going to act like a vapor barrier, and also reflects heat. Like I can feel just by putting my hand on it for like a second, you can feel the heat from your body reflecting back at you. And then behind, I've obviously got all this insulation here. Now, when I do the ceiling, it's going to come across to here obviously, and there's going to be a little gap there. That's okay. That was intended. I actually want to have a small gap for running cables, so any wiring or anything I'm going to run along the top here, and then I'm going to get a plank of timber, probably not the tongue and groove. I might just get a wide flat piece and sort of diagonally just screw it in there as like a cap to cover over all the wiring, and that way I can get in there if I need to later on. Well, that's the plan at the moment, and I'm probably going to do the same on this side. So with this one, I might actually remove these things, at least up until this. I might leave the one over the sliding door. I haven't decided yet. So I'm going to remove those. Yeah, I'm going to get a start on this wall anyway, because I'd really like to get it done today. So let's do that. So this is the shorter wall, and then on the other side, that's the longer wall. That ended up being around about 4.2 meters long, I think, for most of those planks. It does taper on the van, so as it gets further up, it comes further in.
so you have to gradually make them kind of shorter and shorter. And then at the bottom, obviously, you've got things like the wheel arch and that to cut around. But on this side, it's actually pretty straight. The only thing that I did do is just in here, I don't know if you can see that, I made these from here on up a bit shorter, just in case I ever want to access these screws. I can get those out. So hopefully something that you'll notice while I'm making these videos is that when I build things, when I design things, I like to design them around what's already there. So like that panel, for example, I like to make sure that things are serviceable. So those screws, I thought, you know, not that I need to now, but one day I might need to get to those screws in order to take the rest of the cargo barrier out in case for some reason I wanted to remove it. So I make sure that when I put the wall panels in, I have enough room to get to the screws. Now I do that with everything. I'm always thinking as I'm building something, am I going to need to get to this later? Am I going to need to get under there or behind there? Or, you know, like for the electrical wiring, for example, I've got an idea in my head of how I can make the wiring easier to reach rather than putting it in behind the walls, which you'll notice I didn't put any wiring behind the walls. Most people do. They lay the wiring and then they put the insulation in and then they do the walls, all that sort of stuff. I've decided not to do that because if I ever want to get to it, I can't. So I'm coming up with ways where I can have the wiring accessible. So if there's ever a fault or if I want to add more wiring or service it or whatever, I can get to it. So yeah, hopefully you'll notice that as the videos go on. When I build things and when I design them, I try and make sure that I think ahead, like plan for the future, like for servicing and maintenance and things like that. So yeah, that's just a little tip. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more stuff like it. If you want to support the channel, then check out the instructions in the video description, and I'll see you next time.